Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Horse Center. This Tuesday, still staying dry here in Tampa Bay. Knock on wood, fingers crossed. And tonight, as always, we have the wonderful Swiss Army Shawn and a very special guest tonight, Molly Rollins, who is an exercise writer, but also assistant editor for The Bloodhorse, a publication that we absolutely love here. We cite it all the time. Great work. So happy to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, and I honestly feel like I'm shortchanging you by only listing two of your occupations, because you're another one of these jack of all trades people who has just kind of done everything in the industry, but currently that's what you're doing. So, and
yeah, no, I've been in the industry for 11 years. I started out working, with the racehorses, like hands-on. I've done like everything, like from hot walking, the sales, and then working my way up. I actually have an assistant trainer's license, and galloping. I still gallop, but in the past few years, I decided to go back to college and got my degree in journalism. And now it's been 2 years I've worked for the Bloodhorse.
Yes, we just love it. Actually, I just have to do a quick shout out. Bloodhorse, we love it here. This is a cover that Willie made it on with Brass Hat, the horse we were talking about yesterday. So a full circle moment, but anyway. So how did you get your start in the industry? Did you grow up in racing? Like, how did you fall in love with horse racing?
No, I'm not from a horse racing family at all. Okay. I grew up in New Jersey. It's weird, like thinking back. I don't know how I started getting involved in it. I think when I was 11 years old, I went to school with people whose parents like used to work at Cherry Hill, Garden State Park, and which was like the local track in New Jersey. It had closed down, but and they had talked about it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And at 11 years old, I started just watching the races on TV, and I got my first subscription to the Bloodhorse at 12, and started. I kind of taught myself, I guess, the sport, really, reading Bloodhorse every single week. I would make my dad take me over to Parx and Monmouth Park. We went to the 2005 Breeders' Cup at Belmont. So,
yeah, that's amazing. So cool.
I've just been a fan forever.
Yeah. So like I said, you've done everything, honestly. What drew you to journalism specifically?
I guess I always like wrote in high school. I was like the editor of the high school newspaper and everything like that. And my cousin, she writes for the Wall Street Journal. She's a pretty, well-known journalist in Washington. So I guess writing kind of runs in my family a little bit. And yeah, a few years ago, I just decided it was something I wanted to pursue. And yeah, I went to Rutgers University in New Jersey and got my journalism degree. And I mean, it seemed perfect. Like I could write about the sport that I love and have been so involved in for so long.
Yes. Yeah. And we love your work here. That recent article that you put out about Jackie Davis was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And you write a lot of work like that, very, tip of the tongue, current events, people that are kind of highlighted in racing. But I've also seen you put out some really good work about more off the beaten path subjects. Very cool. I like how you bring attention to people or horses or situations that most of us might not be aware of. So how do you find those more like off the beaten track stories?
I mean, I guess just like being on the track every day, because I still gallop in the morning. So I hear and just observe everything going on. And I probably like pay like more attention to that kind of stuff than maybe like other people in the media. Because I mean, I consider the people on the racetrack, like they're like my family. They're my people too. Because I'm out there doing the same thing as them every morning. And yeah, I mean, like literally the best part of my job is putting the spotlight on people who might not normally get the spotlight, because there's so many hardworking people in our industry that don't get the recognition that they deserve, and people see like the trainers at the top, but they don't see people like, well, now like Michelle Lavelle, she's doing like awesome. But I did like an interview with her back in December, and she was just like beside herself. But like what a hardworking woman, and it just gives me like no greater pleasure than to like help put those people in the spotlight for sure.
Oh, definitely. There was an article you wrote also about Sarah Schaefer that I just loved. We had her on the show. What was it, 2 weeks ago? Is that right, Shawn?
Yep.
And it was great. I mean, that was like my main thing that I went off of like some really fun questions to ask her. So great job.
Wow, that was before Bloodhorse even.
Yeah.
That was Saratoga special. That was like the first actually piece like I wrote out of school.
Oh, wow. Well, it was great. Good job.
Yeah, no, I love telling people stories. Like that's my favorite part of the job. All the newsy stuff. I know that's part of the job too, but I love just telling people stories and horses, people.
Oh yeah, that's what we love here too. Like Shawn and I have said many times, like the stories behind the people, the horses, like that really draws people in. You want to kind of fall in love with a certain character rather than just, oh, I like the black one. So
Sure.
Thank you for all your hard work there. And I was also curious about you gallop horses for John Ortiz, another friend of the show. So I saw you giving some Barber Road some love the other day on social media. Who are some of your favorite mounts in that barn?
Hollis is one. He's
Okay.
a grade 3 winner, multiple stakes winner for John. He's like the old man in the barn. I get on him every day. I adore him. He's so cool.
Very cool.
I have ridden Barber a few times, but he's not like my normal mount. But he definitely gets peppermints from me every day because he's so cute. I love him.
He is. He's handsome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Barber Road have some quirks to him? I know all horses do, but
well, did John tell you how he's like a little escape artist, like getting out of his halter all the time?
I don't remember him telling me that. He might have, but I don't remember him telling me that now.
I've never seen a horse. He could be like tied to the wall, and the next thing you know, like Barber's just running around the stall with no halter on. It's like, how do you do that? Like, apparently he's been doing that since he was a baby. I only started working for John in November of last year. Before that, I worked 2 years for Grand Motion in Maryland.
Oh, that's awesome. So were you at Fair Hill then? He has a lot of horses there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always curious, how do you like the training centers versus being at the racetrack? It's just a totally different atmosphere. What do you prefer and why?
I think for the horses, the training centers are probably better. Like Fair Hill is horse heaven. It's the most perfect place to train horses. You have access to all the fields and the hills out back, and Graham really utilized that, being like a European style trainer.
Right.
And it's just a quieter atmosphere, like less stress and pressure on the horses. There's, a lot more space to graze them. But like personally, like I prefer the track. Like I'm excited to get back to Keeneland.
Yeah.
Next week, actually. So, because right now we're stabled for John at the Thoroughbred Training Center. It's on the other side, the opposite side of Lexington from Keeneland.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, if you're getting your leads for your stories, then you got to be at the track because the farms are much quieter in every way.
Yeah.
So, what is your typical day like? Having to do galloping in the morning and then working for the Bloodhorse? Like, what does that look like?
Yes. Sorry, I have a little dachshund, and he's home right now.
Trust me, we've got kids
ready to play. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, every morning, like I wake up at 4:50, start getting on horses between like 4 and 7 horses, and sometimes, like when I'm done riding, like I'll go and like run interviews, like go over to Keeneland or at the Thoroughbred Center or wherever, go to the sales. Like now the sales just ended because I was heading over there to do different sale previews and stuff like that, or help cover the sales. And then, in the afternoons, I mean, if it's not like the race meet going on, just like go to the Bloodhorse office and everything. But Keeneland, it's going to be pretty crazy for me because I'll be galloping in the mornings, probably trying to do interviews like late in the morning, and then be at the races. But I love it though. Like I love being on site at the races. It's like one of the best parts of the job, really.
Yeah, there's nothing like it.
Mm-hmm.
Molly, what's your most favorite story that you ever wrote?
I'm pretty proud of, there was a story I wrote on George Russell of Russellwood Farm, the owners and breeders of Papa Cap, that appeared in the Bloodhorse April magazine. That was like my first ever magazine story, which was just a huge deal to me because, like I said, I grew up reading Bloodhorse since I was 12 years old. So to see my name, I mean, it's cool to see it on the website, but when you see it in print copy, there's just something different about that. So that's probably my favorite story. But I don't know. I'm pretty proud too. This past May, I covered my first Kentucky Derby in Kentucky Oaks, and I was actually the one who covered the Kentucky Oaks. So like that entire like recap, and then talking to Lucas and Brillin Farm, like owners of Secret Oath, after the race, like that was on me. And I just remember feeling so overwhelmed, and my boss told me, "Oh, you're going to cover the Kentucky Oaks." I'm like, "Wow, this is the biggest race like I've ever covered. Like, can I handle this? Can I do this?" It was a really crazy and overwhelming and long day, but I did it, and I received great feedback, and I'm pretty proud of that for sure.
Yeah. Now you say long day. Was it kind of low? Like I just did Park Saturday for TVG, just social media and stuff, and it was the quickest 13 races I ever had. Like it was nothing like a fan. It was a total different aspect. Did it go quick like that to where like you blink and then all of a sudden you're like, I got through it?
Yeah, but I mean, you're working. I mean, Derby, Oaks Day. I'm very sure Breeders' Cup is going to be the same thing. You're there at 7 a.m. to midnight. I think because part of my job with Bloodhorse too is I help run our Bloodhorse Daily, which is like our daily newsletter. If you guys get it,
yeah, yep,
email every day. But so I help run that. So on busy days like that, you need to make sure that everything is important that is included in the daily, and then that PDF file gets pushed out to the email and to everyone for everyone to see. So sometimes on those busy days, you're working till 2 a.m.
and then back up again at 4 something.
You're tough.
You're tough.
Yeah, kind of a crazy schedule, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I can't stop riding right now. Like I keep like telling myself, oh, I'm going to retire, make my life easier. But it's one of the best parts of my day, waking up, getting to start my day on a horse.
Oh, your passion really shows not only in what you write, but also your social media. I mean, it's clear that you've, quit and come back to writing because you just can't give it up. Like, it's great. I love it.
Yeah. And I kind of think too, that helps me a lot, like with my writing and when I interview people, because they know like I'm one of them, and I understand them, just everything they're going through, because I've felt all those similar emotions myself, and that's how I see the horses too. So I don't know. I think that really like helps me in this career, just being able to relate to people like in that way,
Yes. And we have a comment here from Michael Watkins. Interesting guest. You guys have a great show. Yes, very interesting. I was just saying before we started the show, how happy we are to have you. This is our first person who writes and edits for a major publication. So thrilled to get kind of a different viewpoint on things.
Yeah.
Question for you, Molly, because I've written some personal stories with people in the sport. Not a professional at all, just did it, trying to. But it was always frustrating to me. You put out this great story about somebody positive, and then other people write the negative stories, and the negative stories always outweigh the positive story. Does that get frustrating sometimes?
Yeah.
You don't worry about that.
Yeah, I just don't worry about it. I mean, or you'll see like comments. I mean, I know at the end of last year, I wrote this story on like the winningest horse of 2021. His name was Shimmy. And it was like I was really happy with the story. Like I didn't even talk to the trainer. The trainer yeah, I didn't even talk to the trainer. I just talked to the owner, and the owner, he was just so proud of his horse, like loved his horse so much. And I felt like that really came through in the story. And I was really happy with it. And of course, like on social media, people are just like bashing the horse's trainer, bashing the horse. I'm getting like hate messages for writing it. And I'm just, it's just like, you know, that can be a little frustrating, but you just got to just keep pushing on. That's like where my boss at Bloodhorse, Claire Crosby, she's our publisher. She just said that. I mean, that's just part of it. You're going to have the hate as
yeah. We see it a lot, like on the social media. Sometimes Shawn will send me screenshots of stuff going on, and I'm like, where do these people come from? Like, who are they? In particular, women, right, Shawn? There's just some guys on there that just like,
oh yeah, it's, you know,
crazy.
We're and I can ask you this question because I asked, you know, we're in 2022, but there's still some of that going on. Do you still deal with that, the sexism part?
Not like as much in the media field. I mean, I think being on the backside, it's definitely more like a male dominated sport for sure. But with the media, not really. I feel like there's so many just strong like woman figures like in the media in our sport. I don't know, Alicia from TVG, and Nicole from Daily Racing Form. There's so many just really fantastic writers, and a lot of those writers, I feel like we help each other too. Because last fall, that was like my first time being in Lexington, being on site at Keeneland, and there might be people after the race where I'm like, oh, I'm not sure like who that owner is or like what that trainer looks like or something. And I feel like we're kind of like a team, and we all help each other, like, oh no, like that's who that owner is. And that, I don't know. I feel like there's definitely a lot of like woman on woman support in this industry. So maybe that can kind of like overcome any barriers we do face.
That's awesome. And we got a comment here from Willie Martinez. Derby and Breeders' Cup are the longest post parade of the year. It makes a long day for sure. She did a great job on her Oaks coverage. So
thank you.
And we've got another comment here. You're getting a lot of love here. Terry Hayes, she has a lot of great information and very interesting to hear things from her perspective. Agreed.
Oh, thanks.
So
now you said you had your assistant trainer license. Is there ever a thought to do training on your own one day?
I mean, that was like honestly my dream growing up, because I am just so passionate about helping each horse be the best that they can be. Like even with riding, and like every horse like I ride, like I want them to do the best that they can. And even if it's a $5,000 claimer, like if they win, like I'm thrilled, you know, because there's like really like nothing like spending like the time and effort, like helping a horse be the best that they can be, and seeing them succeed. So I don't know, maybe down the line, if I had the financial,
yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not sure. You know, going back to school, like I kind of told myself maybe that wasn't really like, that was kind of out of the possibility. Because I do love like writing about it, you know, and covering the sport, and helping other, you know, teach people and show people about this great sport, you know.
For sure. So I also see the Bloodhorse puts out like videos. Like I saw a cool video about overheating, like it being too hot and whatnot. Do you have anything to do with that as well? Or are you more just like the writing aspect?
Yeah, well, that was my video.
Oh, that was your, okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did not realize that, my bad.
No, I mean, we produce a lot of videos. We started Bloodhorse Plus last year, which is just like exclusive like video content. And now, yeah, in addition to writing the stories, yeah, we're producing like a certain number of videos each month for the fans, and yeah, just trying to get different topics. I mean, my last two videos, I went to Kentucky Downs, and I was on site there for their big weekend, which was super fun. Kentucky Downs, like if you've never been to Kentucky Downs and you're a horse racing fan, I would 100% tell you to go, because like it is out in the middle of nowhere. It's a really fun meet. And if you want to just get up and close with the horsemen, I've never seen a track so accommodating to that. Like it's a very relaxed atmosphere. Like I know Saratoga is great for fans too, but Kentucky Downs it's so relaxed, and you can literally just go right up to Steve Asmussen or Wesley Ward. They're just standing right there and have a conversation with them. And like I said, it's just a very relaxed atmosphere. I literally like left there, and I told my colleague from Bloodhorse, I was like, wow, like all the fans should come out to this meet. Like this would be such a great way for them to meet like their favorite jockey or their favorite trainer, because they're just all right here.
Agreed. It is a special place for sure.
Yeah. But no, my last 2 videos, I took kind of after the races that I covered, just, little like interviews and stuff like that. But no, we're really trying to push those videos now and just, offer like a different aspect for like, for Bloodhorse, readers.
Yeah, super informative. I really enjoy them. I also wonder, do you travel a lot for work? Because I see you kind of here, there, and everywhere. Is that for fun or for work?
Mostly for work. Kentucky Downs, that was like a smaller trip, but I did go out to Maryland to cover the Timonium sale. Awesome. I wasn't at Preakness. I was a little bit burned out after Derby. We had some fresh eyes like going out there for the Preakness in Belmont. But no, like I said, I really enjoy being on site. So if there's any chance that I can go out to even if it's just an hour and a half drive to Churchill, like I want to be there. So yeah, I guess I travel like a fair bit. Not out of Kentucky as much. But yeah. I mean, I'm excited that the Breeders' Cup is in Lexington. I'm super pumped. I think it's going to be awesome. It's my first Breeders' Cup that I'm covering. I know it's going to be another long and crazy day. But I think it'll be exciting. And it's going to be really cool for me too, because not only am I going to be there covering it, I'm also going to be riding at Keeneland in the mornings too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's going to be so cool to be out there on the track with all the Breeders' Cup horses.
For sure.
Because I've never done that like in my riding career. So it's going to be, 2 birds with 1 stone.
Very cool. Now, is there a person or a horse or a story that you're really wanting to write that you have not gotten the chance to do?
I can't think of anything.
I don't want to steal your scoop. It's a top secret.
I can't think of anything offhand, but like I can guarantee you before the Breeders' Cup, because like I always try to make it my mission to find someone, like I said, who's not well known, like who doesn't normally get the spotlight. Like I can tell you before the Breeders' Cup, I will try my best to find someone interesting for everyone. Oh, here's my dog.
Yes. Oh, so cute. We have escaped children showing up all the time, so don't stress about it.
Yeah.
And do you have any advice for someone who wants to get started in this industry who has no horse racing background? I mean, that's pretty rare. Most people kind of grow up in the business.
Since like moving to Lexington, it's kind of blown my mind how many actual jobs there are in this industry. And I used to just think, working with the horses, but there's so many other opportunities outside of working hands-on with the horses, like through media or marketing. And just like with Keeneland being here, Keeneland's a huge organization, like not only with the racing, but with the sales. And all these farms out here, they all have like large amounts of staff, people who do PR and communications and there's so many opportunities. Like if you don't want to physically work with the horses, but you want to be involved like in the industry, which I think is super cool. And then, for someone who wants to be like hands-on with the horses, I mean, it is tough not having an in, but I guess, I mean, they always say like go to Ocala, or tend to start. I mean, I feel like are so many people in the industry who do want to help people, especially like younger people, get involved.
Yeah.
People who want to learn. If you could just find a barn that's like willing to take you in, but you have to work hard. You know, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to work. You have to wake up very early in the morning and start from the bottom. And if you're willing to put in those hours and learn, you know, people will be there to help you.
Right. So is that how you got your start riding horses? Did you start off in Ocala?
I started off, so I actually, right out of high school, I went to the University of Arizona in Tucson, and I did their racetrack industry program for 2 years.
Cool.
But then I did an internship out at Fair Hill with trainer Michael Trombetta, and I was like, what am I doing? I want to work with the horses, so I left school.
Right.
And then I told Michael Trombetta, because like I was hot walking, and I went up to Saratoga, which was a cool experience like for him. And yeah, I was just hot walking up there, going to the races for him. And I said, I want to learn how to gallop. Like I used to ride hunters when I was in high school, like show horses, but nothing near like a racehorse. And he said, oh, well, you got to go down to Ocala. And then he helped me get a job with Niall Brennan, one of the huge 2-year-old consigners down there, 2-year-old in breaking farms too. Yeah. So I started with Niall Brennan. I was grooming 6 horses a day, and then riding 3. And then when I would get done that job, I would go to another farm and tried to ride as many horses as I can, because that's the only way you're gonna ever like get better at riding. You just have to ride a lot of different types of horses.
Yeah, for sure. Well, forgive me if I hit you up sometimes for advice, because now I have off-track thoroughbreds, and I did not grow up with the hunter jumper thing at all. So I rode Western and then riding racehorses. And for me, it's weird going the opposite way. I'm like, I got to jump this? What?
Yeah.
So you brought up the Breeders' Cup. Does John have any horses going to the Breeders' Cup?
Maybe. Boss Bailey. Shoot. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Why can't I think of I can't think of her name at the time. Oh my gosh. She finished 4th recently in the Pocahontas. Okay. Sorry, we call her like Bailey around the barn. This is terrible. I'm so sorry if any of our owners are watching this.
I'm sorry.
Hey, you know,
I put you on the spot.
I know. If someone could look up her name.
Yeah. You know the barn name. That's all that matters.
Something Bailey. Wow. She ran like a really encouraging 4th in the Pocahontas. That was the 2nd start of her career.
Oh wow.
She broke her maiden at Ellis first time out. So I think like they have pretty high hopes for her, and you know, I think they want to give her one more race, and if she runs well, I think the Breeders' Cup would definitely be in consideration. Barber, they're gonna wait on him and point to a 4-year-old campaign, so no Breeders' Cup for Barber.
Okay, that's the one I was most interested in.
We'll see too. Keeneland's coming up. We have some really nice, promising 2-year-olds. Awesome. There's one, his name's Salute the Stars. He won really nicely at Ellis, or Oscar Award. He won really nicely at Kentucky Downs. So we'll see if, you know, Keeneland has a few 2-year-old stakes and, you know, winning year in races. So they might show up there, and we'll see what happens. It'll be really exciting.
Yeah, we'll keep watching.
Yeah. And I guess I can say this about John. It's been really cool working for him, because when I first started for him back in November, he only had like 40-something horses. We had a lot of mutual friends, and that's how I started working for him too. And actually, like, I was working for Grant Motion before, who John had worked for in the past. So he kind of called me up and was like, oh, you're not working for anyone now. And we come from the same school.
Yeah.
You know, just how like we ride and just knowing horses. So, you know, when he asked me, I was like, oh, definitely, this is someone I want to work for. Plus, I love that he gets on his own horses. I've learned so much, even just riding wise, working for John. He's really improved my skills. I know, for one, like coming out of the gate, No, John is like a phenomenal rider. So anytime I get to like ride with him or resources with him, it's a real privilege. He's definitely made me better all around. I have a lot of respect for him. And it's just been so amazing to see him go from 40 something horses and then have like a fantastic Oaklawn meet. And now he's up to 90 something horses.
Wow.
He deserves it. He works really hard. His entire family, he deserves like everything that's, you know.
Oh yeah. He was a great guest, and he's clearly so knowledgeable. And it looks like we have our answer here. Boss Lady Bailey.
Yep. Confirmed.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sean Patrick.
Thank you.
There's nothing Sean Patrick does not know.
Thank you. There's so many of them.
Good to have him on standby.
Yeah. No, and John has been super supportive. If I tell him like, hey, I need to leave early to go over to Keeneland for the sale, or I need to like head over to do an interview, he's always like, go for it. Derby week, I actually like had to miss like a lot of days of riding because I had to be out in the morning covering Derby workouts.
Yeah.
And he's just, of course I was not allowed to cover Barber Road. Bloodhorse told me. Yeah. I showed up on the Saturday before the Derby, and I kind of like was expecting to cover Barber Road because I had covered him pretty like well before the Derby. Like I had interviewed Bill Simon, the owner of Barber Road. Bloodhorse was okay with it, but kind of that Saturday before the Derby, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go cover Barber Road. They're like, no, you're not. I was like, oh. But I mean, you know, no bias though. I cover the races very fairly. And usually actually now that John is to the point where he's at like his level, if there is like an Ortiz horse in the race, I won't cover it. I'll like remove myself just out of fairness, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
How many horses does John have in his barn?
I mean, like I said, I think total he has like 90 something. We're in 4 different locations right now.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that looks like a fun barn to work for. It looks like the team has a lot of fun interacting. Their social media is lit. Like,
yeah, he's really out of the game with that stuff, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, his little sister, Carla, is just phenomenal at her video editing skills. I'm always like, oh man, I need your video editing skills for Bloodhorse.
Yeah, I follow her on Twitter, and she does. She's got some really cool stuff out there and always makes them look good. I mean, they look good anyway, but makes them look even better. So
I think he because you know John is very young himself, and I think he has really he knows how to like just up with the technology and put like the right content out there, like for his owners, clients, future clients, like what people want to see. And like, that's key, you know?
Yeah.
Have like more forward thinking.
Yep. We talk about that all the time on here, the next generation and roping them in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the people that's been around for a while's got to be open to change. And that's one thing they are not open to. Horse racing has that. I talk about this a lot. Horse racing has that Major League Baseball thing. Don't make any changes. Keep it the way it is. And it just doesn't work.
No. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about this before coming on with you guys, and like I'm a very big proponent of like the partnerships in racing. Yeah. I really think that's the key to bringing more people into the sport. Even just partnerships like My Racehorse, where you just own like a tiny like percentage. I was trying to get my uncle to do it, who's retired, but he loves horse racing. But my aunt would never let him spend, $50 grand on a horse. But here's this, like you can, spend like a little bit of that, and
just a tiny bit,
and go to races, and like that's like, I mean, that's the key. Like that's what we need to really push and do. Like partnerships. I think it's a wonderful idea to get people involved.
I can talk about that Saturday at Parx when my Alibi won. Like I think it might have even been the first or second race. I was going out to the winner's circle, and I swear there was 50 people following me, and those 50 people became 100 to 150 to 200. I mean, the winner's circle wasn't big enough for all these people. It was crazy. So yeah. I wouldn't do it myself, but hey, it's great for the sport. So Yeah, definitely.
I do it. I have a little part of a horse for others. It's fun. I mean, like you said, it's like almost no investment. I can't even remember how much, but they send you updates all the time. We get videos from the trainer. We get interviews with the jockey. Like, it's really fun, for such a small little piece to get so much back. It's fabulous.
Yeah, and I feel like it just gives people a taste, and then if they want more, then they can like invest more money and get more seriously involved, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's definitely the way to go, and that helps our sport a lot. Organizations like that for sure.
Yeah. I love all these positive innovations we're seeing in the sport. Very cool. It feels like for the first 30 years of my life, everything was all the same. And now like we're starting to see some momentum and I love it.
Yeah.
And we got another comment here from Terry. Hey, I've been doing it and only a little piece of Authentic, who won, of course, the Kentucky Derby. Hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Terry talks about it. Terry talks about it all the time. He's got a few. He absolutely loves it. He'll bring it up anytime my racehorse comes up on the show. He will tell you all about it. He loves
it. Well, good for you, Terry.
Yeah. Is there any other, besides that, is there any other change? Like if we gave you the keys to horse racing and said you can make any change you want, what's the one change you would do?
That's tough. Sorry, I'm thinking about this.
Or we can go, are you pro HISA or anti HISA?
Okay, so HISA, I mean, I think it's about time that we had a uniform system in place. I mean, Europe does, like Australia, Japan, Hong Kong, they all like have these very similar rules to HISA in place. So I think it was a long time coming, for sure. If there was a change, I mean, I think HISA is on it's definitely like something that's gonna like guide the sport in the right direction,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pro HISA myself. I get it. I wouldn't say all the way pro, but things need to change, but they're on the right track.
I think everybody's pro with the idea. It's just not the group that came in.
The execution, I mean, I think it's like with anything new, it's going to take time to smooth out all the edges and get everything working in place. And I know, like I said, because I'm on the horseman side of it too, so I see their side and I see like their qualms and their problems with it, and I totally understand it. And like it's going to take some changing, even the way like we train horses, really, like because of some of these rules. But maybe that's not a bad thing. I mean, like I said, in Europe, like it works for them, so why can't it work for us, right?
Yeah, I mean, those are different countries that get together. You think that we could get like Louisiana and Texas on the same page?
Yeah. No comment there, probably.
Right.
Rich talks about that all the time. He talked about it before HISA, that he didn't understand why all the states just couldn't get together and come up with one uniform rule and be done with it.
Yeah, it was nuts for a while. And I can tell you, just like from like before I was in racing, I mean, before I was like in journalism, I was like doing more of the assistant type stuff. You had to know the rules for, the withdrawal time, like for this drug in New York is going to be different than the withdrawal time in Monmouth, then at Parx, then in Gulfstream. It was nuts.
Yeah. Agreed.
You really had to be super on top of it. Your vets had to be super on top of it. And I could see like why mistakes happened, because it was a lot. So I think it's about time we have some uniformity.
Yeah. And it was bad, like, because I used to train as well. And I just remember people would say, oh, well, if you've got a horse that you need to run something on, go to West Virginia, because their withdrawal times are so much shorter than everyone else. What you had to give a horse, it had to be withdrawn a week ago. You can give it the same day there, like that's not right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need to have, horses running without issues, everything uniform, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing with the public. They don't care. If it's a failed test, it's a failed test, and you're a cheater. It doesn't matter what actually happened.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. and honestly, like, breaks my heart every time something like that like comes out and you see it like in the New York Times, and
Right.
because it's like like I love the sport like so much, and you want to see it succeed, so you hate when people have such like a negative opinion on it. And I'm always advocating for the sport. Like even when I was in college, when I was in Rutgers, I used to do a lot of different research papers and presentations on racing because a lot of people were anti-racing and they think it's cruel to animals. And I try to just like impress on people that these, like there's so many people in the business that do like love and care about these horses, and these horses, they love, a lot of them do love their job and love what they're doing.
Yes.
And it's just making that like known, I guess, to the public. That's the challenge that we all have, especially being in the media, because I definitely feel a little bit of that responsibility to.
Well, you do a wonderful job highlighting some really special things, also bringing some knowledge, teaching people. And I don't know, we're always seeing these days, it seems like things are finally going the right direction, right, Shawn?
I mean, the handles say so. So, I mean, the economy's not doing well, but the handles are. So I would think that's got to be a good thing for the sport. I mean, Parx just crushed their record on Saturday. So, I mean, even tracks like Parx that aren't your grade A tracks per se. I mean, they're doing well with big race days.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think COVID really helped us too.
Yeah, I agree.
That was one of the positives of COVID. I do think it like people it got more exposed to racing in that way, because racing was the only sport going on for a little while.
Yeah.
People are like, what's this?
Yeah.
What's crazy too, and like the whole Baffert thing, like I talk up to people about horse racing, and around here, Reading, PA, it's not a big thing at all. Nobody wants to hear about it. But everybody came up and asked me about the whole Baffert situation and stuff like that. But they didn't want to hear any of the good stuff. I tell them about the good stuff. It's like in one ear, out the other, and they move on. They want to get away from me because they're tired of hearing about horses.
Right. Well, I love Baffert. I know. Unpopular opinion. And Jordan Park says COVID really helped Fawner. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of lost their momentum a little bit, though. They were the top notch thing going with COVID, but
yeah. And with Baffert, you have to respect what he's done. Back to the 90s. I mean, him and Lucas, they were like revolutionizing the sport, really. They changed the way all these mega trainers and stuff nowadays, like that came from them. So like just the business model, that an example that those men set.
Yeah. And Baffert, he was kind of a social media luminary back before many people were on it. He was very entertaining. I've always enjoyed his Twitter.
Yeah. No, and all his interviews and everything like that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So that's all I'll say about him, I guess.
Yeah, we've all hashed it out a bunch already.
Yeah, so. I've actually never gotten to speak to him in person, so that's one person.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's coming.
I will say, I talk to Mike Smith all the time, and we've had him on the show, and he will tell you that the Bob Baffert that we picture and stuff, like get to know him, go out to dinner with him, is a total different guy. Like he is, obviously most of us are never going to experience that, but he's not who people think he is.
Yeah.
As far as the bad side of it.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of these big people in the industry, though. There's really, maybe they might seem like intimidating big names, but
well, and that's what I try to sell too. Like, I've obviously gotten through on social media to get people on the show, and then going to Parx Saturday, that was the first time ever on the media side where I had access like I did, and I didn't have any rude experiences at all. I think that's the difference with horse racing compared to, and I'm a big football fan, but in the NFL, I'm not going to get that close or be able to hold more than a 30-second conversation with all those players. So I think that's the part of the sport that needs to be sold to.
Yeah, very accessible. You can just walk right up to a jockey and have a conversation. You're not going to be able to walk up to Peyton Manning and, hey, what do you think about the game tonight?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, like at the races, and even like if you're out there in the morning, actually, yeah, that's my favorite time to talk to trainers,
Yeah.
really, because I understand, like at the races, it's a very like except if you win, it's a very like tense environment, and it's not my favorite thing to go up and talk to trainers in the paddock when they have their clients there and everything like that. But in the morning, like at the end of training, just going to the barn. I mean, like all Derby week, I would go talk to like Brad Cox and Todd Pletcher, some of these guys. It's they'll talk to you.
Yeah.
They're human too. So yeah. And you were at Parx. Like, did you get to talk to like Safi Joseph? Like
I did.
Awesome. Yep.
I did get to talk to Safi.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was one of the, I think the only trainer that I really got to talk to or interview. But yeah, he was great. And then I got to interview his assistant Sarah as well, and a bunch of jockeys. Mike Smith and Chantel, I finally got to meet. We've had them on here a bunch of times. I talked to them and finally got to meet them in person. So it's a great day.
Yeah, and I do think it does help when, I mean, because they're not all, they don't all want to work with you, but most of them do. It does help when trainers, jockeys, owners, racing managers, breeders, like they do give interviews, do like the video interviews with us, or answer the phone. I think it's important for them to talk with us and let us cover the sport. Like, it helps the media and help just so we can get it out there to the fans.
Yeah. Because I mean, most people grow up playing baseball or playing football or whatever. Most people don't grow up around horses, so they're very curious. We really need to teach them about all this so they can start to feel the passion for it that we have.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely like really appreciate those any like horsemen that take the time to really like to talk with us, because it does, every little bit helps.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, and yourself included. Thank you so much for being willing to come on tonight. I know you were like a little hesitant, but it's been great. We love it. You gotta come back on.
Yeah, I've never been on this side before. Usually I'm on your
side. Right.
Yeah. It should have been the quickest 47 minutes you've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Awesome. You got anything else, Shawn?
No, that's it. I was glad to talk to you, Molly, and we'll definitely have you on down the road. Maybe Breeders' Cup is next month, but
yeah, good luck.
Some of the big races are good luck.
And we'll keep an eye out for anything you're writing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, but it'll be great.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, you have a good night.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye. She's awesome, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so cool.
It was a quick 48 minutes.
I didn't realize that we were going that long. I was like, oh my God, it's been almost an hour. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, I could probably sit there and talk to her all day because, now that we're doing the media kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Aw, we have another nice comment here from Terry. Another fantastic show, Jamie and Shawn. You two really rock and have great guests and interviews. Oh, thank you. We do have great guests. I love our guests.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the people inside the sport, and that's what people see. The thing is, people are very closed-minded with horse racing. Like I said, I can tell them about my Saturday experience. If they're not into horse racing, I'm telling you, I ramble on, and they kind of stop talking. When people stop talking back, they're not interested. So I just stop the conversation.
Sure.
It's just they're very closed-minded. They don't want to get to know the sport. It's the people that are open-minded that you gotta lure in and show them, hey, look. I mean,
yeah.
Like I said, you can't go to these other sports and get to know these people like it. And I always loved horse racing. Now that I'm on this side and get to know these people personally, it's a total different level.
Yeah. So true.
It's great.
Yeah. Well, as far as racing news, we actually have a bunch. We've got a comment here that we're going to tie into in a minute. But first, I just want to give a quick shout out to a couple close friends of mine that had an amazing day. Carlos Lasada won the riding title in Louisiana Downs. Congratulations. Absolutely love Carlos. Love the whole family. They're awesome. And also Shelly Radosevich. She's basically my second mom. She trains horses up in the Midwest. She entered 4 horses today and won 3 races and had 1 second. Congratulations, Shelly. We are going to get you on this show. I know you're shy, but we're going to do it. But as far as racing news, we have a comment here kind of leading right into that. You may have already discussed this, but Parx had 2 trainers and a jockey suspended. Anyone know what performance enhancers were allegedly found? And we have one comment here. Loaded needles and a buzzer. Yes, that is what we saw. Let me see if I can bring up the article here. Sorry, guys, bear with me. Okay, here we go.
So while you do,
sorry. No, you go ahead.
So while you say that, so this is unfortunate. This is never good when this happens. But Parx is taking a lot of slack for this. Parx did the right thing. They were searching people coming in, and they stopped them. But now everybody still wants to go, oh, it's PA, it's Parx. This is what happens all the time. Parx is stopping them. So Parx did a good job here. So, I mean, this could happen in another track, or this could have happened in Parx, and they just sweep it under the rug, and we would never know about it. No.
Right. Yeah.
They shouldn't take away from the great day. Parx did what they had to do. These people have their court appearance and everything else. They were taken off the property. I know the jockey was Edwin Rivera for Parx, and his horse, I forget what race it was, but Paco ended up riding and ended up winning the race. So, I mean, really a bad day for Edwin Rivera there.
Yeah, no kidding. But like you said, I feel like this is a good sign that they're being proactive. I feel like, things that used to be, like you said, swept under the rug or ignored. Now people are realizing, no, we got to call people out. We have to get rid of the people that are causing us image issues and that are not doing the right things by the horses, the jockeys, the whoever. So I think this is a good sign. I mean, you always hate to see it, but it looks like the 2 trainers that were found with the needles and syringes are Miguel Penaloza and Cicero Marquez. They are suspended for now. They will have hearings coming up soon, so they'll get to tell their side of the story. So
and one of them was like a 4% winning percentage trainer. So I'm not sure.
Oh my goodness! Well, he needs to get some better stuff in those needles.
Like
I'm just
nothing's
kidding,
helping you. Yeah, that's not no.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I don't either. But that goes to show you, being a true horseman and taking care of your horses the right way, that's going to get you higher than a 4% win, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, can't go much more down. So, I mean, there's no advantage of this at all.
Yes.
Plus, like always, we want to take care of the horses. So
exactly.
All that stuff. I mean, the buzzer thing, I think it's more common than it's been caught, which isn't good. But I've also talked to other jockeys who believe somebody has it, but they never find it. So you would think if it's around and it's popular as some people think it is, somebody would see it. I know it's only a small thing, but I don't know. I've also talked to other jockeys. They watch who rides other horses, because once a horse is buzzed, it will not ride without it. It like ruins the horse. That's why we need to get them out.
It won't respond to the little foam pool noodle that they're using for whips. Okay, so another, this is not that great either. Unfortunately, we have some bad news in racing today. So there was the Aqueduct Handicap, and the horse that won was the favorite. And apparently, Sheriff Brown, he was disqualified. So not only did the jockey, he hit the horse 11 times. So not only did he have to pay the fine, take the days that we're used to seeing, they DQ'd the horse, which means that the owner lost on $108,000. What's really interesting about this whole situation, which is why you see I think this is the trainer, either the trainer or the owner, with this quote about it being stupid, asinine, and moronic, is there was
Todd Fincher.
Oh, okay. So there were 3 other jockeys who also violated the whip rule, but only that one horse got DQ'd. That does seem very unfair. I mean, I think the disqualification is a little nuts because the trainer and the owner cannot help that the jockey might have accidentally hit one too many times. And they're actually contesting, saying the horse was more like he was being flagged and kind of like not even a solid whip. So
the only thing I'll say about that, I've seen a lot of that where the trainer and owners are complaining because they're getting fined for something the jockey does.
Right.
You're also getting paid because of something the jockey does, because the
That's
jockey's
true.
helping you put the horse in the winner's circle too. So
that's true.
you're managing your team, you manage the jockey kind of too. So that would be the only thing I say about that. But I don't know why the other three weren't fined. I guess they didn't get in the top four probably.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
No, the horse ran second.
Oh.
One of the horses ran second, but I think they didn't have 11 hits. I think they had like 10 or under. And I think after you go over 10, yeah, I know. So like, what if the second horse got 10 and the winner got 11? And so they lose. Oh, that's
we've had Todd Fincher on the show. The next time we get him on, we'll mark that story and ask him about that.
I'm sure he'll have a lot to say.
we can get some more quotes.
Yeah. And we've got another comment here quickly. Great show. Molly rocks. Keep up the good work, guys. Yeah, she's awesome. Great. Interesting. I've never met her in person, so that was really fun. And we got one more thing that I wanted to talk about briefly here. I actually want you to talk about this, Shawn, because I don't bet, and I read this article. Basically, it means that the bettors get back more money. I don't know why or how, something to do with rounding, but you got anything you can bring to this conversation?
Yeah, so they used to round it so, a horse would pay $220. But now with this penny breakage, and I say $220, that's 1-9 favorite, but now in that example with 20 cents, with the penny, it could be as much as 38 cents. So it says pennies, but it's really, as much as 18 cents per $2. If you're a big bettor and you're putting $100 on it, that comes out to, a few dollars. So every time you do that. So it's a good thing for bettors. I've seen other people complain and go, well, tellers got to be crazy about that, always having the pennies and stuff like that. But it's a lot more than 2 or 3 pennies every time. In that example, and it's an example in the article, it's like 18 cents per $2, which can add up when you're a real big win better, place better, show better, whatever. But you do get those quirky prices that you're not used to seeing. So that's the old horse racing, again, where people don't want that changed, but it's good for the bettor. So anything good for the bettors, we got to take it.
Yeah, people getting a higher return on investment are more likely to invest again. So I read that too. They call it churn. See, I'm learning. And we got another comment here, Robert Bryan. Shawn, there's a great book. It's called The Fast Ride Spectacular Bid, and Gerald Delp tells his part along with Ronnie Franklin. Check it out. It's excellent. Will do.
Yeah, we've had Gerald Delp on the show. We learned some about Spectacular Bid and stuff. I will say I'll read articles and stuff. I will not read books. I'm not a reader.
I'll read the book.
I don't have the, if you put it in a movie, I could watch a movie, even though I'm more of a sports guy, but I don't have the what's that called? I can't pay attention.
Attention span?
The attention span. There you go. See, I lost it already.
Well, I might be reading a lot of books soon as my power goes out. I don't know if you guys can hear the rain going off and on in the wind, like it's descending.
Yeah, your internet's getting a little blurry too. So
sorry, everyone. Sorry about that. We're doing our best over here.
Yeah. Made it through.
Yeah,
now we just got to Now you just got to make it through tomorrow. Not worry about the show, but just make it through. Everything's safe. All of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, everyone, that's about. Oh, wait. Did you have anything you want to announce for later on in the week, Shawn?
Tomorrow is Kiberkoa.
Yes.
Got that. Also, as always, check out pickswiththeprofessor.com and at Professor Sides on Twitter.
Yes, for sure. Okay, well, that does it for us. Thank you for tuning in. Please follow, like, subscribe. Everything that you do that gives us a review or a like helps us. So thank you in advance. And that's about it. And we hope that you enjoy your new penny breakage in the
Winner circle.
All right. Oh, I forgot to do my little thing. I'm sorry. There.